Chris Gardner starts as a man living on the edge of survival. He's invested his entire life savings into selling bone density scanners, a piece of medical equipment he thought would revolutionize diagnostics and secure his family's future. But reality quickly proves harsh. Doctors see little reason to pay double the price for machines offering only a slight improvement over standard x-rays. Day after day, Chris carries these heavy machines across San Francisco, trying to persuade hospitals and clinics to buy them, but his efforts yield almost nothing.
I needed to sell at least 2 scanners a month for rent and daycare. You see that car? One with the pretty yellow shoe on it? That's mine.
Bills pile up, parking tickets turn into fines he can't pay, and his once happy marriage begins to crumble under the weight of poverty and frustration. One day, while rushing between sales calls, Chris pauses outside a towering office building. Amid the hustle and bustle, he spots a man stepping into a bright red Ferrari. Curiosity gets the better of him, and Chris asks 2 questions that change his life forever. What do you do for a living? And how do you do it? The driver, smiling, says he's a stockbroker. The idea ignites something in Chris, a glimpse of a world where intelligence and determination might be enough to break free from the grind of poverty. But there's a problem. Chris doesn't have a college degree, and he's never worked in finance. Yet his gift for numbers and quick thinking makes him wonder, why not try? When Chris shares this dream with his wife, Linda, he's met with cold disbelief.
Stockbroker.
Yeah.
Not an astronaut?
She's exhausted, working double shifts to keep food on the table, and she can't understand why Chris chases a fantasy when their reality is crumbling. Tensions boil over. Linda lashes out, calling him irresponsible and useless.
I've been pulling double shifts for 4 months now, Chris.
Chris has no defense. He knows he gambled their savings on scanners that sit unsold, gathering dust. Meanwhile, his son, Christopher, watches all this unfold. Despite the chaos at home, Chris doesn't give up. He discovers a brokerage firm, Dean Witter Reynolds, is hiring interns. Determined, he marches into their office to get an application. But just as he's about to fill it out, disaster strikes. The scanner he left outside gets stolen by a street performer. Chris chases the thief through crowded streets and subway platforms, desperate to reclaim the machine that represents his family's last lifeline. Though he eventually recovers it, the damage is done. His relationship with Linda is now beyond repair. Linda decides to leave, seeking a fresh start in New York. She says goodbye, leaving Christopher in his father's care. Alone with his son, Chris finds himself evicted from their apartment. The landlord finally loses patience after months of unpaid rent. One night, with nowhere to go, Chris takes his son to a subway station. To protect him from the harsh reality, he spins a story. The bathroom they're hiding in is a cave, and they're escaping dinosaurs. He locks the door, holds his son close, and tries to muffle his own sobs as people pound on the door outside. It's one of the lowest points of his life, a father trying to shield his child from despair. But Chris refuses to surrender. The very next day, he shows up for his stockbroker interview, wearing paint-stained clothes because he'd been repainting his old apartment to avoid eviction. The managers look him over with skeptical eyes, especially Frome, the stern boss. Instead of lying, Chris tells the truth. He explains everything: his troubles, his arrest for unpaid parking tickets, why he couldn't change clothes. Impressed by his honesty and by a quick-witted answer to a tough interview question, the managers see potential in him. Chris secures an unpaid internship, but he's now in a race against time.
So I'll let you know, Jay.
You'll let me know, Jay. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'll give you a call tomorrow sometime. And
What are you talking about? You hounded me for this. You stood here.
Listen, there's no salary.
No.
I was not aware of that. My circumstances have changed some, and I need to be certain that I'll be able to
Okay. Tonight, I swear, I will fill your spot, I promise.
The program lasts 6 months, and only one intern will earn a full-time job. Chris has no savings, no income, and must somehow support himself and his son. Chris begins his internship juggling countless pressures. He's tasked with cold calling wealthy clients all day, trying to convince them to trust him with their investments. While his colleagues relax and chat, Chris works twice as fast. He can't afford long lunches. He needs every minute to generate leads because he has to leave early each day to pick up his son from daycare. At night, he studies for the licensing exam. During the day, he fights exhaustion and anxiety while pretending everything's fine. Despite his own struggles, Chris never loses his humanity. One day, he lends his last $5 to a manager who's forgotten his wallet. Chris changes his cold calling strategy. Instead of calling random names on the list, he targets senior executives at major firms. That bold move pays off. He lands a meeting with a wealthy investor, Ribbon, who, though initially uninterested, introduces him to other high-net-worth individuals. Those connections finally start bearing fruit. Bit by bit, Chris begins signing clients and earning small commissions. It's not enough to escape poverty, but it's a fragile lifeline. As the internship draws to an end, the pressure reaches a breaking point. Chris walks into the office for his final review. He's exhausted, terrified, and unsure whether his sacrifices will pay off. Then the news comes. He's earned the full-time job. Emotion crashes over him like a tidal wave. Tears fill his eyes as he steps outside into the bustling streets of San Francisco. He claps for himself because he finally knows. He's won. Not just the job, not just the money. He's kept his dignity, his hope, and his bond with his son. Chris Gardner's story isn't just about financial success. It's about the quiet power of never giving up, even when life feels impossible. It's about believing that tomorrow can be better than today, about sacrificing comfort, fighting through exhaustion, and holding on to hope when everyone else has given up on you. In the end, the pursuit of happiness isn't a destination, it's the journey, a journey built on resilience, love, and relentless faith. And Chris Gardner's journey reminds us that even the darkest nights can give way to dawn if we keep moving forward. Please like and subscribe for more move recaps